Hey everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I make my adorable little Halloween, I call them candy corn wraps, even though there's no yellow in them. I love these. And how I make them using my little bead soup mix for Halloween. I talk a little bit about my Etsy store and how I run it. And these are what I call evergreen products because you can keep selling them, and as you can keep making them as you sell them. So this is one of them. I also have some Christmas ones. I have some summer ones. And I will leave a link below to my Etsy store if you would like to check it out. I probably have about, I think about 521 items or 523 items in there. I do make a lot of one-of-a-kind items, which I love making because I get to be creative. And this is more like a repetitive thing to do, but it's kind of fun sometimes to just turn on a movie and just make these bracelets. So I will show you how I make them and talk a little bit about my business on Etsy. So if you want to learn how to make this, then stay tuned. So I'm starting with my Halloween bead soup. I'm not sure if you guys sell on Etsy or not, but I've been selling in there for a while now, and I have my one-of-a-kind pieces where, you know, I just, like when I work for one of the bead companies and I make a necklace, earrings, whatever, and then I have my what are called evergreen items, and those are ones that I keep remaking because when you sell on Etsy, I don't know if you're familiar with Etsy, but they have the bestsellers, and bestsellers are ones that creators keep creating the same one of, and I can find that kind of mundane and boring to keep creating the same thing. But when it comes to my seed bead wraps, I think I have like 9 or 10 different ones. I have my tropical punch ones, and these are my Halloween ones, and I have Christmas ones, and they're really fun because you can just sit down, put on a movie, and just, you know, it's like repetitive work. So this is my bead mix. Now, I have my beading wire, and that's the one I use. And then this bracelet, it wraps around the wrist 4 times, and it's 28 inches long. So what I do is I take 31 inches of wire, and then I do 1.5 inches on each side. So I have my crimp cover, my crimp bead, and we'll do this. And I do one side and then just layer it up. So we have this. Let's open up this crimp cover. And I put it through the hole. Then I put my crimp bead on. Put about 1 inch down. And I take my bent chain nose pliers and I smash that down. Then I take my round nose pliers and I feed it through, pull that down, and then, I don't know if you can see, I make sure that that is laying the same way. And then I close that up like that. And then that's how I have my first side. Then I will take, let me grab some of my other, and I take chain nose pliers, and I like to use my round nose pliers because when I'm shaping circles or whatever, I want those. So then I attach that to get it started. Then I always make sure that that's totally closed because I sell these and I want them to be in the best shape ever. So yeah, I just measured out 31 inches And then I also have my bead stopper. And then I try and do, there's a couple things that I put on each one. I'm just gonna grab some bead soup here. We all love a little bead soup. Now, I always make sure that on each one of them, I have one of these, and I have a little darker one too, so whichever one, and a couple of these. So as long as I have those, and then the rest, it's random. So I'm going to start just by picking up, and I do little patterns on these. Let me bring this down over here. And then once I get enough on, I will bring, put the bead stopper on, because I do cover up the wire. I don't cut it because I feel like it's just kind of a little extra insurance policy that so that it doesn't come apart after a while. Okay, so now I will bring this all the way down. So now I have enough here. And I get it close enough. And then I just start feeding it through. And I make sure that I don't do any of the 11-0 seed beads right here at the beginning. Well, there's one right there, but it went on. And then I do this, and then I always put that on so that I make sure that I have that. And then I just kind of start adding beads, and I'll do little random patterns, like I'll do like 3 or 4 or 5 black ones, just for a little something, and then I'll go to an orange, and I have everything from 6 O's to 11 O's on here, and then I have a couple bigger ones, like some of these little disc ones. I'll add one of those. And I just keep adding. This is fun because there's some days where you just want to bead and you don't really want to think too much about what you're doing. And so this is perfect because you get to do that. And I love putting these up in my Etsy stores. They're so much fun. So I think I have 3 of them up right now. So with Halloween coming, I'd like to get about 15 or 20 of them done. And then I will just keep restocking. So as needed when I get down. And then my Christmas ones, I'll do one for my Christmas one too, if you guys like this kind of video. Different from, I love selling on Etsy. I had my own website for a while, and I found that, and some people who have their own website will disagree with me, but there was so much work you had to do. You had to do your own, get your own, your VAT codes to sell in Europe, and just so much, and your own taxes. And Etsy kind of does a lot of that for you already. So they have it so you can just create. And plus, I get a lot of traffic on Etsy. I only spend, I think it's $1 a day on advertising. And when I had my own website, I was pumping out like 300 a month, and I still wasn't getting that many views. You really have to push yourself on social media, and sometimes I just don't feel like doing that, you know. But I always get people finding my shop on Etsy, you know, and if you use the right keywords and titles, you can do really well on there. But you have to have good pictures. I'll leave a link below to my Etsy store, so if you want to check it out and see, I think I have about, I'm just going to randomly throw this out there, I think I have like 500 and something pieces on there. I do sell a lot of my pieces that I make on here, but I signed up to do a lot of markets in the upcoming months. So I'm excited about that. Let me move this. I'll do one of, and then I'll do like a random one, like one of the long ones, and then an orange one, and another long one, and then another orange one. See, so I have like that little pattern there, and push that down. So yeah, I like selling on Etsy versus other stuff. I actually just signed up to start selling on TikTok. I have been on TikTok recently, and I've been kind of just posting videos. I've had a TikTok account for a while, but I haven't really done much with it. And I decided to sign up. And so what I'm going to do, because, you know, I have enough upkeep trying to get my stuff listed on my Etsy store. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to sell some of my Evergreen products on there. So that way I don't, like I can do with Halloween coming up, I can add some of these. I can put like 5 or 6 of them up and see how they do. And then they do good, then I'll make more and sell more in there. So, and I don't use cheap beads either for making these bracelets. I use Toho and Miyuki beads, Chuck glass. I don't buy the cheap ones because I think they fade after a while. And the people who buy these usually really overwear these bracelets. And last thing you want is for someone to contact you and say, oh, my, you know, my color's faded on my seed beads. I mean, of course, you don't want them wearing it in the bathtub or anything, but, you know, if somebody's out and they wash their hands a lot, the bracelets tend to get wet, which I don't really recommend, but that stuff kind of happens. So there we have that. And let's see, I'm going to put this one on. This one I'm going to do a little, I do a disc. And when you look at the pictures on my Etsy store, I have like 4 or 5 different bracelets wrapped together. And so they, each one looks a little different. So you don't know which one you're going to get, but they all randomly look alike. So this is it so far. Isn't that pretty? I was going to add some yellow to this, and then I decided what would be cool is maybe to make some yellow bracelets on the side. So I'm not really sure. Okay. Have that. Now let me see. Did I do one of these? No. Yeah, I don't want it to just be seed beads, although most of it is. Now I'll bring a few more out here. So these are just fun to, you know, sometimes I'll be just turn on a show I'll be watching. I just finished I'm a little late to the game here, but I just finished Modern Family. Oh my God, that show was so adorable. And yeah, but I'll turn on like one of my shows. I'm a Law and Order SVU junkie, and I like Criminal Minds. I like those kind of scary movies. And I've seen them so many times that I can just kind of put them on. And I don't really have to watch them because, unfortunately, I've seen them so many times. Like Frankie and Grace on Netflix. My husband and I are binge watching Stranger Things, re-watching the whole series because season 5, the last series, is coming out. So yeah, I have a couple crystal bicones on there. I just have a little bit of everything. And It's just really fun. And they're fun things to do for the holidays. And then I usually just sell these on Etsy, but I think with my upcoming markets, I might bring some to the markets and see how they do. And go from there. And I can usually do one of these in about 20 minutes, start to finish. And I know some people do the bead spinners. I don't have one, and I kind of don't use it because I like to have the patterns, although I know you can add some on and then stop it and then add your pattern. And I've thought about getting one. But I don't know, this wouldn't go on a needle, but I think you could put it on the needle and then put it onto here. It just seems more like trouble. I know people who make stretch bracelets. That works really well with them. But yeah, I thought I would take you along and show you how I'm restocking my Etsy store for the holidays. I have my Christmas ones. I have my tropical punch ones are fun because they're trying to count there. They're just like all the fun festive colors. Somebody had mentioned that they look like Mardi Gras bracelets. Yeah, so then I add about 3 extra inches and do about 1.5 inches on each side. Such a beautiful day out. I'm gonna go for my walk in a little bit. Yeah, so look at how pretty that's looking. Do one of these. This. Then I can kind of eye it when I'm a couple inches from where I need to be. I'm usually pretty good about measuring enough. And I have like if you look, I have some matte beads and some shiny beads. It's just really a really random pattern. And here's a nice, beautiful crystal bicone in orange. And when I get, I do add random pieces in here. So like if I get like one of the bead boxes and there's like a bright orange or a real pretty black small bead, I will throw it in here. So sometimes, you know, the mixes are a little different, but they're pretty much, as far as the color, the same. And we're almost there. I tried doing this with a thinner wire, and it just did not work. Because I mean, this is almost like a needle. So I'm able to, you know, really pick these up. And the other one just didn't fly. Yeah, see, so I'll do like a little segment of black. And then I'll do a little mix. Orange crystal bicone. And these are layering bracelets. So like I've had people buy 2 or 3. Okay, so I'm going to, let me get that all the way down. I'm gonna add a little bit more, and then I think we're gonna be where we need to be. These are so much fun to make. I'm trying to be a little more organized in my bead room. I still have not done a tour of my craft room. that I just remodeled because I'm still finishing up pieces. I just ordered a desk, and then I have to order a filing cabinet. So I really want to wait totally till the end. Okay, so now we're gonna take, and we're gonna measure that. That's 12, 24. And we have a little bit to go yet. A little bit to go. Do one of those disc beads. Yeah, and these seed beads are pretty much from everywhere. I have a few from Hobby Lobby, some from Michael's, but they're like John beads. And I do Auntie's beads and some other from Potomac beads because I work with them. And so I had a little bit of everything. But they're fun to, I like all the different shapes and colors. And this just screams Halloween to me. Okay, let's check this. I think this should be close now. Okay. We got this right here. 12, 24. Yep, 5 to 6, 27 and a half. So then I use the other 1/2 inch with a crimp bead, the lobster clasp and all that. So I make sure that there's no gaps in here. So let me push this aside. Okay, and then I put my crimp cover on. Put my crimp bead on. I try and make sure that my crimp cover is open wide enough. And there's no gaps or anything in there. And then I take my bent chain nose pliers, I go all the way down to the bottom and I lift it up just a hair. And I flatten that out in there. And then I will take it and yank at it really well. There's nothing there. So then I take this round nose pliers and I feed it down through some of the beads. Here, it's coming out right here. And I turn that like that. So I have that closed up. Then I will take my bent chain nose pliers and I will press that just to make sure that it's closed all the way. Then I use a smaller lobster jump ring for the lobster clasp. And then I use a bigger one for the one that it goes around or that goes through. So here I'm putting that through and then I will cut that off when I'm ready. So make sure that that is closed up all the way. And then take my flush cutters and kind of go in there. Make sure that is like that. And let me move these back. Okay. And here is one of my Halloween bracelets. And it wraps around the wrist 4 times. It's so pretty. I love wearing these during the holidays. Some people are always like, oh, where'd you get that? I'm like, oh, actually, I made them and sell them in my store. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll leave a link to my Etsy store below if you want to check it out. And I hope I gave you a little bit of information about how I run mine. I've been doing it for a while now. And I like selling on Etsy. I know we've had our issues coming up with everything, with the tariffs and everything. I'm hoping that's going to get worked out. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you thought of this, and if you guys have an Etsy store or not. And I'll leave links below to all my social media as well if you want to follow me on there. And hopefully soon I'll be selling on TikTok. So you guys have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.